Hello, awesome math students. We have learned about fractions, decimals, and percentages, and we have seen how we can use any of these to represent the same value. So it is important for us to know how to convert between these different ways of representing numbers. This visual model is one way that can help us remember how to convert. Let's figure this out by exploring with some numbers. Let's take the number 30%. This one's pretty basic to change to a fraction because we know that a percent is a number compared to 100. So as a fraction, we write 30 compared to 100, 31 hundredths. And then we can simplify this fraction by dividing our numerator and denominator by 10, which is the same as crossing out those two zeros. 3/10. Well, if we know where the tenths place is, right there, then we can write the 3 in the tenths place value, and we have 3/10. So we know if we are going to change a percent to a fraction, like 45%, we're going to write that number compared to 100. 45 hundredths, a percent to a fraction. And then if we were to take that fraction, 45 100ths, to a decimal, we can use the powers of 10. So 45 hundredths, we have the tenths place and the hundredths place, so we write 4 and 5, 45 hundredths. Now, if our fraction, say 1/3, does not have a denominator that is a power of 10, we know that we can always divide any fraction and change it to a decimal. This time, let's start with a decimal first. How about 25 hundredths, 0.25? Now, we know that 5 is in the hundredths place, so pretty basic to be able to write that as a fraction. 25 is our numerator. 25 hundredths is 25 compared to 100. 25 hundredths. Once we have that fraction, especially with the 100 as a denominator, and we know that a percent is a number compared to 100, we can write 25, and we just have to write the percent symbol after. So we know to change a decimal to a fraction, we are going to read the place value. Let's say we had the number 33 hundredths. We're going to write the fraction the same way it sounds as a decimal. 33 is the numerator, hundredths. 33 hundredths here as a decimal, and 33 hundredths as a fraction. And then once we have our fraction written, we know that a percent is a number compared to 100. So we write 33, and now we add our percent symbol. What if we started with a decimal like 4/10? We don't have the 4 in the hundredths place. Instead, we have the 4 in the tenths place. Well, we can write that as a fraction too, 4/10. Now we know that percent is out of 100, so here's what we can do. We can multiply both of our numbers by 10 and write an equivalent fraction where the denominator is now 100. 40 100ths. See what we did? A number compared to 100 is a percent, so our percent is 40%. Let's use the number 20%. And we want to convert directly to a decimal. We know that percent is a number out of 100. So this is 20 100ths. That means that we're going to divide 20 by 100. Does this look familiar? 20 100ths. Numerator divided by denominator. When we do this, we have an answer of 2/10. Terminating decimal. All right, 2/10. What if we have a number like 37%? Works the same. To convert that percent to a decimal, we're dividing by 100. 37 divided by 100. $37 hundredths. Okay, we write it over here. And here's what the fraction is for 37%. 37 hundredths, written as a decimal, 37 hundredths. So we know to convert from a percentage to a decimal, we divide by 100. All right, let's finish up with a couple more problems. If we have 1/2, well, 1/2, we can change 1/2 to an equivalent fraction. Right? We're going to multiply by 5 to get that 10 that we like, that power of 10. We have 5/10. Now it makes it a little easier to write it as a decimal. We put that 5 in the tens place, 5/10. If it helps to put the 0 in the hundredths place, can you see 50 hundredths now? Percent is a number out of 100, so we write 50 and we add the percent symbol, 50%. What if we have a different unit fraction, something like 1/6? Well, remember that any fraction can be divided, numerator divided by denominator, and if we divide that fraction, we will change it to a decimal. Oh, I see what's going to happen here. We're going to have a repeating decimal. The 6 repeats. So our decimal is 16 hundredths repeating. 16 hundredths. The 6 is in the hundredths place. Now we do have a 6 that repeats. So let's write 16 and 6/10% repeating. All right, one more. What if we have 3/4? Now we can multiply by 25. And 4 times 25, here we have the 100, 75 hundredths. 75 hundredths. We put that 5 in the hundredths place. Percent, number out of 100, 75%. Here's our funny finale. Are monsters good at math? Not unless you're Count Dracula.